Good day. Today we're going to talk about spacing. Okay, paragraph spacing and line spacing. Continuation. This is a continuation from our last talk on non-printing characters. So besides non-printing characters, there are other ways that we can interspace and control space. And definitely all of these ways are on a certification exam. If you ever think about taking a certification exam, just keep that in mind. Microsoft Office Specialist Associate Certification. Let's go ahead and open up Microsoft Word. And let's take a look here. Okay, I'm going to open up a blank document. And you can see by default I have that non-printing character there. There's always one there by default. Okay, no matter what. When you open a blank document, there's always at least one paragraph mark non-printing character there. That it's automatically there. All right. It's meaningless to us, but it does indicate that you're starting with one blank line. Okay, that's what it's indicating, and we can type things there on that blank line. Let's go ahead. I'm gonna toggle off my non-printing characters, Control-Shift-8, and I'm just gonna put in some dummy text. Let's do okay, and let's come up here. I'm going to click. I'm just creating a dummy document that we can work off of, an exercise file. I'll include this exercise file for you. You won't have to create this. I'm just going to go up here and put a little title there. Okay, so let's continue on talking about our spacing, paragraph spacing and line spacing. If you remember, I talked about scopes. So we have things that affect the paragraph, we have things that affect the line, we have things that affect the character, or ABC, the alphanumeric characters, and we also have things that buttons that affect the entire document. We're going to be dealing with two types of buttons, lines and paragraphs. All right, so here you can see we have some lines. If we count the lines, we have 1 line, 2 line, 3 line, 4 line, 5 lines, 6 lines. We have 6 lines there, and we have about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a number of paragraphs here, and actually we don't even need these bottom paragraphs. I think I put too many paragraphs in there. I'm just going to select them and remove them by pressing delete. Okay, so we have one page now. So 1 of 1, we have one page, 391 words, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 human paragraphs and 1 human title. If we were talking about computer paragraphs, then it would be 1. We would count this one up here. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 paragraphs. All right, 6 computer paragraphs, 5 human paragraphs. If you don't understand that, maybe you can go back to our previous video and about non-printing characters and maybe review that. If you still don't understand, you can ask your professor and he will explain it to you. All right, so we're talking about two types of spacing, paragraph spacing and line spacing. Let's talk about the paragraph spacing first. Okay, so when working on documents in Microsoft Word, proper paragraph and line spacing is essential for creating a clean and organized layout. Okay, so that's the whole purpose, creating a clean and organized layout. We want to make our documents beautiful. We want to beautify our documents, and that's one way to do it. Remember, I was telling you spacing is very important when you're creating documents. Adjusting these spacing settings can improve readability and presentation. So if things are too close together, it would be hard for people to read it. Not only that, people wouldn't want to read it, because before anybody approaches a document, all right, so if I give you a document, for example, if I print out a document, for example, the first thing subconsciously that you're going to look at is the feel of the document. Is it cluttered? Is it sloppy? As soon as you look at the document, you're going to take an overall look at the document. You don't even know that you're doing it. Subconsciously, you're going to look at the document and you're going to determine your desire to read the document based upon the way that it looks first. Almost guaranteed. That's why there's such an industry for beautifying documents and texts and books and news articles. That's why they go through this trouble. For example, in a news article, they put things in columns. They do that because they have studied how people read and the desires of what people want to read. And we'll talk about more of that later. All right, so if your document is looking all cluttered and unreadable, you're not going to want to read it. Nobody's going to want to read it. It's going to be work, because your brain does work to decipher the words on the page. Okay, so let's take a look at that. So here we have some paragraphs, and paragraph spacing, very important. If you notice that after each paragraph, we have at least 12 points of space here. You notice there's a little space here. There's a little space here, much bigger than these spaces that are within the paragraph. If we look at these spaces right here within the paragraph, these are smaller, okay, than these paragraphs. So if you look here, this is paragraph spacing. Paragraph spacing. Paragraph spacing is spacing that separates paragraphs. And we can see through this way that paragraph spacing it makes the document look a little orderly. Now we can increase that space or remove that space depending on, what the look and feel of our document. I definitely wouldn't recommend decreasing that, but you never know. You may be in a situation where you may need to decrease it. Let's just take a look at this paragraph. So there are two ways to increase or decrease paragraph spacing. And let's take a look at it. The first step I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the Layout tab. I'm going to go to the Paragraph group. And I'm going to go over here to the spacing. All right, so if we look at this paragraph, you see my cursor is blinking in this paragraph. This paragraph has 8 points of space after it. That means that there are 8 points of space here. All right. Now it has 0 points of space before it. So above it, it has 0 points of space. Now you may be saying to yourself, well, wait a minute, that looks like space. This looks like the same amount of space as down here. How does it have 0 here? Well, the reason why it has 0, the spacing is not coming from this paragraph on the before. The spacing is coming from this paragraph. This paragraph, as you see here, now that I clicked in this paragraph, this one has 4 points after. So this little space right here is for this paragraph, not this one. This one has 0 before, and this one has 4 points after. So just understand that paragraphs can have spacing before it, or in other words, above it, or spacing after it or underneath it. All right, so for example, if I go ahead and just increase this space to maybe 8, we're dealing with this paragraph, the one that the blinker is, the cursor is blinking on. Now I have 12 points of space here, and that looks a little bit better there. One thing to know, let's just check it out. Let me click on this one and let me increase the spacing here for the before. So when I start increasing the space before, it's applying space here. But as you already know, there's already 12 points of space for this paragraph below. Okay, and yes, this is a paragraph, just like we talked in the last video. Microsoft Word considers this a paragraph. Okay, even though to the human it looks like a title. But let's go ahead. You see my cursor blinking in this paragraph here, and now that it's blinking in this paragraph, that means this is the paragraph that will be formatted. Let's come up here and let's see what happens when I press the space before. All right, so nothing happens. The reason why is because there's already a number of space there already. We already have 12 points of space. So it'll go all the way up to 12. Now, if I put higher than 12, then it'll start to add on. All right, so we have 24 points of space above this paragraph, and we have 12 points of space beneath this paragraph. All right, now that's a lot of space. I don't think we need that much space. Let's go ahead and click on this one, and let's change the spacing before to 0 and press enter. All right, and it's as simple as that. Okay, so we're dealing with the paragraph or on the paragraph scope. Now, these spacing works on a paragraph by paragraph basis. So if you want to adjust more than one paragraph, you will have to select the paragraphs that you want to adjust. If you were just adjusting one paragraph, you don't have to select. You could just click within the paragraph and let your cursor blink in the paragraph, and it will adjust that paragraph. But if you want to adjust more than one, then you have to select. So for example, if I want to adjust these two paragraphs, I'll have to select, and let's go ahead and put a little bit more space after. Okay, 12 points of space, that seems good. 18 points, that might be too much. Let's do somewhere in between. I'm gonna click and I'm gonna type in, I'm gonna put 15 points of space, press enter, and I think we're good to go with that. Okay, so very cool. So let's go ahead. So let's just recap first. This first paragraph we can see here has 12 points of space beneath it. This second paragraph has 15 points beneath it. And this third paragraph has also 15 points beneath the paragraph. All three of these paragraphs, though, have 0 points or 0 points of space before the paragraph or above the paragraph. And by the way, that's how space is measured. Space is measured in points. But also, FYI, your fonts are measured in points also. That's the unit of measurement that it's called. So some things are measured in inches, some things are measured in centimeters. Fonts and space is measured in points. So for example, if I go here, you see this 12, that's 12 points. Okay, and you can see all the points that we can make our font there. All right, oops, I think I pressed that by mistake. All right, let's go back to the layout tab. All right, so let's go to this third paragraph and click on this third paragraph. Now we can simply just select all the paragraphs and change them all at once. We could do that, but for the sake of brevity and also for learning, we're going to change each one differently. All right, so let's go to this third paragraph, and we see that in this third paragraph, there's only 8 points